Hello, I'm glad you came by. I hope you enjoy the few minutes we have together, and if we're not careful, we might learn something. My assistant is here. My assistant and bodyguard. This is my attack cat. She's a good mouser, mostly an outside cat. In real cold weather, she stays here in the patio. Very friendly. When I come out in the morning, she's there by the door and right at my feet, and sometimes I've stepped on her and she won't make a sound. She's learned that I'll be careful and move my foot, and so she just patiently waits, and sometimes she has to wait a few seconds. She's kind of let down her guard lately. I saw a mouse in the house today. No wonder, I live in the country and pretty hard to keep the mice out of the house. I want to talk to you today about our thinking and why we believe the things we believe, why we do the things we do. I'm not a degreed philosopher, but that doesn't mean that I haven't learned anything in life. I like to think that I am not a prejudiced person. Now, a lot of times you use that word and people immediately think that I'm referring to the amount of pigment in a person's skin. That's not what I mean. That's included. But making judgments without consulting the facts makes one prejudiced. And all of us are biased on some matters. We have presuppositions, we have assumptions. We've concluded some things, made a decision, or sometimes based entirely on emotion. And the facts, the truth, may not have anything to do with our belief and practice in life. I think the truth should have everything to do with what we believe and what we do. Something that really sets apart us humans from brute beasts. Some people use that phrase, and I think it gets the point across. This cat has limitations. She's, as cats go, and the kind of cat that I need, she's about as good as I can imagine. I am not a cat person. I don't dislike cats, and it's pretty hard to dislike this one because she does everything for me that a cat could possibly do. So in my thoughts that I want to share with you, I like to believe that I am objective about decisions and my beliefs. I like to believe, or prefer to believe, or I have a high enough opinion of myself that I'm unbiased in my beliefs and opinions, and that I am ruled by logic based on my understanding. And of course, my understanding and yours has holes in it. There's things that you and I believe that are not so. I run into this all the time. And if you are what some people here in the Appalachians, if you're what some folks say, if you're thoughty and you've considered these things, why, you found that things aren't always the way that they ought to be, and so you change. And I believe we should plan changes. We should be proactive in our life, not react. This cat reacts. If a mouse would run across the floor, she would jump down and try to catch the mouse. That's a reaction. She doesn't have enough mind to set up traps and scenarios where if any mouse should venture along, it will automatically be caught. Cats don't have that kind of a brain, but you and I do. Whether we use it or not is up to us, and that's part of what I'm talking about. People who study such things it's a common thinking that, or an understanding based upon tests and such, which I don't pretend to understand. I have to assume that they're the results of logical, careful study, but many experts in understanding of the brain's function believe that the brain consumes more energy when we're facing a change in our thought patterns or rearranging our beliefs. And I wonder, and maybe you have an opinion on this, and I'd like for you to share it if you do, but I wonder if there is not a certain predisposition with our brain to avoid changing our beliefs and practices. It does seem that once we adopt a belief, whether it's based on any foundation or not, it may be entirely prejudiced, that we don't like to change. And I wonder if it's just a built-in predisposition against change. Well, I'll leave that up to those that study such things. But we're bombarded all the time with outright lies and distortions, and it's not necessarily that the people are doing this on purpose. I know some people do. There's bad people out there. Most people are not. Most people carry lies and distortions because they don't know any better. They haven't examined the matter enough to come to some better understanding of the truth. So the things we hear, there's also truth mixed in. It can be difficult sorting the truth from the excrement. Pronounce that word right if I can. It can be difficult. I think it starts with a personal decision. We've already discussed what we like to think of ourselves. But I think a good question to ask ourselves is, do I really want truth? Do I really want to be objective and sensible with the decisions I've made? One thing's for certain, if you don't aim, you'll hit what you're aiming at. And if you're not aiming at anything, you won't hit anything. You'll hit what you're aiming at. And if, like most folks, if you're trying to better your life, then I believe a better understanding of a truth or more logical thinking will lead us to an improved life. If that's not true, then we might as well be a cat or a dog or a hog or some other wild animal. But I believe we're more than that. And the thing that really separates us, other than an opposing thumb, and that is the ability to think ahead, to consider that when morning comes, I'll want something for breakfast. So perhaps I should have something ready to prepare when I get up so that I can have breakfast. This cat doesn't give any appearance of doing any planning for breakfast tomorrow at all. She knows when I come out in the morning that I'll probably be sure she has water and put cat food out. And she expects that of me. And so far it's worked out pretty good for her. So what I want to leave you with is just a simple thought that's really an individual thing. But I'm recommending that you examine your thinking and that you really pay careful attention to why you believe the things you believe that guide your life. And that you are careful who you listen to. You're careful with the foundation of your thinking. Do you think this way because somebody told you to? Do you think this way because some professor or some school teacher told you to be that way? Are you the way you are because that's the way everybody else is? Well, crowd think is very close to mob think. And unfortunately, I've been around a few mobs. I didn't enjoy it. A crowd is just a premature mob. And if you don't realize that it can change from a peaceful group of people into a mob that can go stark raving mad as quick as you can snap your fingers, then you haven't been around long enough, or you haven't been paying attention. So why do you believe the things you do? Why do you do things the way you do? Why do you build up this world view of things? Examine your foundation. Consider who you listen to. Now, I'll give a quick illustration and we'll wrap this up. If I wanted to know how to be a better husband or a better father, then I would go to someone that had a successful marriage and a happy marriage, where husband and wife are happy and fulfilled and satisfied, and where the children have learned to be decent and to take care with their life and live a purposeful life, live a life with purpose and planning. In other words, they're using their brain. And I would go to that person for advice. I wouldn't go to someone that's had all kinds of problem relationships. I wouldn't advise somebody come to me to learn how to weld. Now, I can stick two pieces of metal together, and I could fool some people, but I've been around welders, and I know I'm not one. Now, if you'd come to me and ask me about welding, I'll give you the best I've got. But I'm telling you, you can surely do better. So look into those things. How important it is to you to be living aright, to be pursuing a better life, is up to you. I hope I've shared something with you that will help you. I believe I have something to say in that area. And I have my reasons for that, but that would make this video exceptionally long to go into those details. So I'll leave you with those thoughts, and I hope you feel that your time has been worthwhile. Blessings upon you and your house. Bye-bye.